Before I get into today's video, remember to follow me on Twitter. So my Twitter, the link is in the description below. You can also find me. My handle is @JacksonKruger. Come over, say hi, and anyways, back to your regularly scheduled video. All right, let's talk some Colt McCoy. So listen, it's been now 3 weeks without Kyler Murray. I think we're all ready for Kyler Murray to come back, but at the same time, Colt McCoy's played well, and it's been a combination of things. You know, part of it has been, for sure, just the scheme has allowed him to have success. That's been a pretty significant part of it, actually. I think it's also fair to say, like, both San Francisco and Seattle didn't necessarily have the best game plans against, Colt McCoy. I think that those are two very fair points as well. But I also think it's fair to say McCoy himself has played pretty well. So let's get into the film study and talk about really what's working for Arizona. So, let's start things off with something like this. So a lot of what you want to do sometimes against these cover 3 zone coverages is just take checkdowns. Take what the defense gives you, so to speak. And this one is kind of a wild choice to take a checkdown, you would assume. So a lot of the checkdowns that McCoy took in a smart way were, stuff on like first down, the whole you can't go broke making a profit mindset. That's, of course, why you saw him with a completion percentage of nearly 80%. It's also kind of why he had a completion percentage of over 80% against the 49ers. And, this season, it's 75.6%. It's because he takes what the defense gives him, and this is an example of that kind of. The weird factor that comes in here is just the situation. It's a 3rd down and 10, and I think a lot of people in this spot would say, okay, you don't want to take a check down, you want to throw it down the field. But listen, if nothing's open down the field, still take the check down, especially when you're at your opponent's 41. Gaining 5 yards here can be a big difference. That can be the difference between 3 points and 0. So, look, you're going to see that McCoy takes the snap and Rondale Moore is open underneath, and they're just not covering him whatsoever. And this is obviously a bit more dramatic than what you would see typically because, it's a 3rd down and 10. They're covering the first down marker. But even on, 2nd and 5, they were still playing off to the point where you could gain some yards with these checkdowns. McCoy does take this checkdown, and you're going to see Moore do a good job of being able to actually pick up the first down right here. So that's kind of another example of why you take the check down even on a 3rd down and 10 is good things can happen. Obviously, if something was open down the field, then you should throw it to that. But almost always when you see a check down, it's because stuff isn't open down the field. So good play there by Colt McCoy, I would say. Although, to be clear, he wasn't afraid to, give his receiver a chance when he had to, right? Now, a lot of it was just running an offense, but there were some times when he said, okay, no, I am going to push this ball down the field. This is an example of it where he's basically just going to say, hey, I have A.J. Green. A.J. Green's better than any corner Seattle has, even at this point in his career, so I'm going to let him try to make a play. It's a 3rd down and 5. But, one of the interesting things about Seattle is they do this a good amount this year where, they don't want to just make it seem as though they run cover 3 every play, but the reality is they want to run cover 3 as much as possible. This is, back in the Legion of Doom days, this was kind of that new hot, sexy defense that teams would run. I probably could have found a better adjective than hot, sexy, but you know what? We're going to go with it. And then, anyways, but it was like the new hot thing that teams would do. And really, it's kind of what they started. And I think Pete Carroll's kind of still trying to hold on to it. And he'll try to be like, oh, maybe we're doing something else, but then still go back to the cover 3. The reality is, though, there's only one safety deep. So no matter what coverage they're running, this is basically going to be a one-on-one matchup. And I called him Kyler, shows what Colt McCoy is doing. And what Colt McCoy knows is that he knows that he has this one-on-one matchup. Look, McCoy takes the snap, and he is going to just float this one up. It's not really particularly open, and it's actually not even going to be a particularly great throw. Look, it's a bit behind, but this is why you give your receiver a chance, especially when it's not like you got to know who to try, obviously. But in this situation, it made sense. It was a good matchup, so yeah, take that shot. I like this stuff from Colt McCoy, and it's, again, this is the value in having kind of a veteran backup as opposed to like a young backup. Actually, I think this next play will really show the value in having a veteran backup as opposed to a young backup. The problem with getting like these, you get a 3rd round rookie who has some potential and you have him be their backup. Obviously, The plus side is there's like maybe potential for them to be a great player, but the negative is just it's going to take them a while to actually just learn how to be an NFL quarterback, whereas you kind of skip that part when you have someone like Colt McCoy. And when you're trying to win a Super Bowl like the Arizona Cardinals are, and you have someone like Colt McCoy who maybe doesn't have this monster ceiling, but at least he has a solid floor, it makes sense because he can do stuff like this. It's just, again, it's a simple play. It's a cover 3 zone, and you have, 2 routes to mainly look at. One that's kind of going over the middle, another that's going to be going underneath of the linebackers. The linebackers are going to be where McCoy makes his read. Look at how right when this play begins, immediately you have 2 options. If the linebackers are staying deep, you just throw it underneath. Again, take that check down, gain 5 yards. You can turn around, maybe even get a first down on this play if the linebackers were further deep than they are. They are not deep. They're further in, which means that you can throw over the top. This is, again, it's a simple read, but this is the kind of thing that McCoy isn't going to screw up. A third-round rookie might screw it up. And as you see, accurate throw as well, maybe a bit high, but you had to get it over the linebackers, so good throw as well. That obviously factors in. These throws aren't the highest degree of difficulty, but part of that is because McCoy's making the correct decision. All right, now let's go on to this play. So what's going to happen here is this is going to be a great example of just, again, the offensive coaching staff for Arizona. They dial up the right plays. They create the right plays. They change what they do week to week depending on their opponent. They know Seattle's going to play some cover 3, so they have some fun ways to beat cover 3. And it's not stuff they never do against other teams, but it seems like they definitely, will call the right plays more often, knowing who their competition is, which is stuff that I like. So anyways, it's a cover 3 zone once again, and they have a really good concept to beat this. First, you run play action, which always works very well in zone coverage, right? Because the linebackers have to come in. If it is, they have to do it regardless, but if it's man, you kind of just follow your guy, whereas in zone, it can get you a lot more out of position because there's 7 guys looking at the quarterback as opposed to man where there might just be 1 or 2 of those guys in coverage who will get fooled on the play action. But then you're going to fake it to Rondell Moore, who's running out to the flat to the offense's right. So the linebackers who will freeze on the play action then will probably see, okay, this is what you're doing, let's get over there. Finally, a third Arizona player runs over the middle, and with the linebackers as out of position as they will be, this is how you can make this work. Watch. So McCoy, he's going to fake the handoff, fake the pass back, and look at how far out of position these linebackers are. This is just good play calling by Arizona. That's really what it comes down to. Again, McCoy's going to make the throw, but he should make that throw. It's an easy throw to make. That's a good, well-coached play by Arizona, and that's what they can do, and that's what they can do consistently. And as long as you have a quarterback who can just make NFL throws, they can still find ways to have success, which is what they've been doing. So listen, am I now willing to say, hey, Colt McCoy, he's going to be a future starting quarterback? No, but he's a solid backup, and that's kind of what you knew he was going to be. And for the Arizona Cardinals, this is another promising win, I think, where you kind of show that you can continue to win football games, even when, again, no DeAndre Hopkins, no Kyler Murray, no problems so far. So it's been very fun to see Arizona continue to have success. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.